What up? Welcome in. It's The Herd. I'm Doug Gottlieb in for Colin. We'll hear from Christine Leahy with the news in a moment. Last night, Twitter was sent into a frenzy because LeBron James had a filthy, filthy dunk on Nurkic of Portland. Should be pointed out that the Cavaliers lost that game, 113-105, as the Portland Trailblazers have been spectacular in the second. Since the All-Star break, they have been ridiculous. Damian Lillard had 24, and they got 29 from C.J. McCollum, 17 from Mo Harkless, and the Cavaliers fall despite LeBron having 35, 14, and 6. He got into a little verbal dust-up with his head coach, Ty Lue.
Was that a dust-up? That looked like more than a dust-up to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, you get guys. You get guys who are around each other all the time. There's an expression in baseball. When the baseball season come into an end, you talk to baseball players, and they're like, man, I can't wait to pick my own friends again. And like, what's that mean? I think it's been extended out to like 20 days, but before they extended the All-Star break, baseball, 162 games, used to have 16 days off the entire season. And so, look, you're around those guys every day. And I don't know, I think from watching enough TV shows about women when they hang out with other women too long, how they argue with each other.
What?
But dudes, when they hang out with other dudes, are going to argue, right? I have gotten into a verbal fight and probably a fist fight with just about every one of my friends growing up. That's what happens. Like, you're just around each other too much.
So you fight.
Yeah, or and part of that is coaching, and part of that is coaching a star, and that's part of having a younger coach who some view as more of a contemporary than having an older coach who tells you what to do. But I do think, and here's kind of the point, I think you're kind of making that you'll agree with me when I get there.
Okay.
Okay. That's Christine Leahy. I'm Doug Gottlieb in for Colin. This is The Herd. I hear people say, you know where he should go? You know where LeBron should go? San Antonio. Now, the part that people don't, the reason people don't want to take San Antonio seriously is it's not a major market. He doesn't own a home in San Antonio. It's off the beaten path. To which 21st century folks are like, Russell Westbrook's pretty big. He's in Oklahoma City. You know, the San Antonio guys could be bigger. Their just personalities weren't bigger. It has nothing to do with location. Is nothing. He's in Cleveland now, and he is not only a billionaire, but he's in every market in the country. He's on TV commercials. Market size doesn't matter because the league is on TV. You have social media that goes everywhere. This is a global sport. He's actually kind of a global icon. Doesn't matter where he goes. That's fine. But he's not going to play for Greg Popovich. The second you say LeBron James could go to San Antonio, if I had a hearing aid, and to this point, 15 years of national radio, I'm like the only guy to not have hearing issues. I'm sure that day is coming. I was talking to Colin last night, and I was shouting as if he was in the artillery in the Navy. Okay, I was like, Colin, where are you? I got you. You can't. But I don't have hearing issues. But if I did, I would click my hearing aid off the second you say San Antonio. Do you know why? Do you know what the mantra of the coaching staff, specifically of Greg Popovich, is in San Antonio? Wait for it. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. I love this quote from Pop. One time he said, I asked them if it wasn't too much trouble, if I wasn't being too pushy, if they could execute what we were trying to do, and if it doesn't make them too angry, if they also wanted to play some defense on the other end, that would be great. Right? He is a get over yourself sort of guy. And LeBron James is a lot of things. He's a much better shooter than he has been previously in his career. He can play virtually any position. He can guard, maybe not perfectly, but he is a jack of all trades, guarding most every position. He's a tremendous passer. He's a good rebounder. Score a little bit of the post, score a little bit outside, do a little bit of everything. But you know what he is not and has never been and never will be? He ain't over himself. Right? When you're the king, you don't get over yourself. When you conduct daily press conferences and give the update on your team and say, you know, I haven't played with an all-star in a while. He's the ability to be passive aggressive is helped by the fact that you can do it when you're not over yourself, when you understand that your words carry weight. I'm not saying LeBron James won't leave. I'm not saying that he won't go to Houston. It's a possibility. I'll bite for a second. Sure, they'd have to shed themselves of all the ancillary parts that make Houston, Houston, but I'll at least go okay. I'll offer up that the 76ers are a possibility. Do I think ultimately he'd be miserable in Philadelphia? Yeah, I think end of your career you'd be miserable in Philadelphia. But they are surrounded with young stars, and he likes playing with young guys because they make him feel like the star that he knows that he is. Same thing would happen in L.A., right? People don't just like being self-aggrandizing. They like others to bow and tell them how great they are. That's why they have that Gucci row or the Jack Nicholson seats. And even, I don't know if you saw the NBA game when they played the Cavs, Jack was coming in, and I think it was Jeff Van Gundy said, like, wait, Jack has to show his ticket? Yeah, because that's actually the attitude that people like Jack and others have in L.A. That's the attitude that LeBron has. Like, I don't have to show my ticket. Like, actually, yes, you do. You have a ticket. Because people in L.A. are a lot of things. Over themselves, they are not. San Antonio, over themselves. So the second that I hear, hey, man, he'd go to San Antonio. He can't take coaching from Tyronn Lue saying that wasn't a good shot. Have you ever thought of how Greg Popovich might relay what he thinks of shot selection? Forget about the fact that his boys can't hang around, that they can't fly on the team plane, they can't sit front row unless they buy the tickets, that all the stuff that he has set up in Cleveland he can't carry with him to San Antonio. Forget about all that stuff. LeBron James is not, has not been, will not be over himself. That ain't how he rolls. So the second you say, hey, man, he'd go to San Antonio, I stop listening to you. I stop listening to you. It's like when somebody's talking about health and fitness and wellness, and they're like, you know what I mean? And then you turn around and you look, and they lit up a cigarette. You're like, what? Excuse me? Or when somebody says, God told me the other day, like, listen, I believe in God. I have been bar mitzvahed, and I'm always Southern Baptist. This is not an attack on religion in any way, but when you say that God told you directly to do something, I got a tough time with it. I'm not going to lie to you. And when you say that that he's going to go play for Greg Popovich, well, he's never been coached by a great coach, so he wants to be coached by a great coach. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. If you think a train will stop if it sees your car on the tracks, you're right, it will, about a mile after it hits you. So don't try and beat it, because statistics show you might just lose. Stop, trains can't. Let's get to Christine with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
You missed something really important when you slightly mentioned LeBron's dunk on Yusuf Nurkic. Did you see what he said afterwards?
I did, actually.
After that dunk? Yeah, so he was very pleased with himself. And I know you pointed out that the Cavs did lose 113 to 105 to the Trailblazers. But LeBron still found some time to talk about how amazing he is.
After you threw it down, were you a little surprised with yourself? Or
No, I knew it was going to be a good one. You know, that's going to be shown for a long time. And I was more excited to look over and see my teammates, how excited they were. So that, it'll go on. That one will last forever, and, my highlights, from my career and even when I'm done.
In case you didn't hear that, he ended with, that one will last forever in my highlights for my career and even when I'm done. I'm going to give you that was a great dunk.
It was nasty. It was filthy. I mean, poor Nurkic, he has a family too, right? He has a family too, LeBron.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. It was a great dunk. That was awesome. But I'm not even in the least bit surprised that LeBron took the opportunity to share about how great that was.
Is he anywhere close to over himself, Christine?
Not even a little bit. Okay. Nor I think he ever will be.
So I take it you agree with the general premise of my argument.
Yeah, he's not going to the Suns. Although I said
Spurs.
I'm sorry, the Spurs.
Yeah, no problem. Not going to the Suns either, by the way. But
definitely not going to the Suns. Definitely going to the Spurs. And I told you earlier, I would love if he went to the Spurs because I would love to see Pop put him in his place a little bit. You know? Could you imagine if LeBron tried to argue with Popovich?
Yeah, I don't think that would go over quite well.
No, it would not. Here's a place that would like LeBron, although I think all places do. But
Okay.
you've seen this billboard thing, different cities putting up billboards, like Philly did it.
Yeah.
LA did it.
Yeah.
Now, Blazers fans are trying to get a billboard up for them as well. They've started a GoFundMe. So this isn't a real billboard.
Oh, that would be funny right there.
No, but it's going to be soon. So they're starting a GoFundMe, and it says LeBron, Dame needs a third option. It's pretty good.
That's actually amazing. It might not have the effect that they intend in the
Right.
PDX, but it's pretty amazing.
So they need $2,000, and when we last checked, it was at $265. So I'm sure that by the end of the day, they will get
$265. They
Yes.
need $2,000.
Yes, that's
Okay.
easy. They'll get that, I think, by the end of the day, and then we'll see this billboard.
I love that Dame needs a third option. That's amazing.
It's good. And finally, UCLA lost in the first four.
Yes.
And now there are banners flying over UCLA saying Final Fours, not First Fours, hashtag Fire Alford. So fans are calling for Steve Alford to be fired after 5 seasons with the Bruins. And remember last season and the football season after, or before the ASU game, there were banners that were flying over that called for Jim Mora to be fired.
Yes.
And then 8 days later, he was.
Yes.
So.
Well, look, it's my personal belief that LeVar Ball and Lonzo Ball are the gift that keeps giving. And stick with me on this for a second, okay? So Lonzo last year helped them get to a Sweet 16, his third Sweet 16 since becoming the head coach at UCLA. And Lonzo really saved his job. The summer before Lonzo came onto campus, Steve Alford actually had to give back a year of his contract. There was a year extension that was added on. They had knocked off his contract in an effort to save his job. Hey, look, I'm going to prove it to you based upon this year. Okay? And they performed well, and I think he got that extension put back on.
Okay.
And then this year, because LiAngelo Ball and the two others got caught shoplifting in China, he kind of gets a pass.
Oh, so you don't think he'll be fired?
I do not. I do not.
Interesting.
I honestly don't. Look, it's a disastrous 2-3 days for the Pac-12.
Yes.
For Larry Scott, last year, 4 teams in the Sweet 16 and 1 in the Final Four. And now you got UCLA losing to St. Bonaventure, who most of us couldn't pick out Ole in New York on a map. Even if you were given you're given a circle, pick somewhere inside this circle. But I honestly think the excuse of losing 3 players and having a really young team is a viable one, and he probably keeps his job 1 more year.
Interesting. I don't know. The fact that there's banners flying above, I don't like that. That's harsh.
The whole idea of banners works when there's an outdoor football practice. It doesn't work nearly as well when there's inside. Do you see the banner? Like, nah, it's on the top of the
Well, we're talking about it, so it worked in a way.
We are talking about it. That's Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about saving, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money. All right, let's talk some hoop. We need to talk a little bit about the NBA prospects we saw playing college basketball yesterday, but we also have to talk about this dust-up between Ty Lue and LeBron James. Let's bring him in. Chris Broussard, you hear him weekends on Fox Sports Radio. You see him on all of the shows here on Fox Sports 1. I've heard LeBron say, hey, man, I haven't played an all-star in a while. He's speaking in glowing terms now about Kevin Love. Like Kevin Love was the odd man out. Now he's the savior. How do we go from, man, what's Kevin doing here to when's Kevin get here?
Well, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Nice.
You know, look, I think Kevin Love is going to help them a great deal when he gets back. I think you and I may disagree on this, but I think him being the definitive second option matters. When he was with Kyrie and LeBron as the third option, he was inconsistent. Sometimes really good, sometimes really bad, sometimes disappears, whatever. When he was the definitive second option and Kyrie was gone, he played, I think, the best ball of his career. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 50% shooting, 40% from 3. He's never been an efficient scorer. He was efficient. IT4, Isaiah Thomas comes back, thinks he's the option 1A.
Yes.
Love gets pushed down to 3 again, and the inconsistency returns. So also at center, because I think they should start Love at center, Nance at 4, LeBron at 3. I think he's more effective as a center, particularly against Golden State. If you look at the numbers, 24 points, 12 rebounds a game when he's playing center against Golden State. So I think Love will be a big help. Look, not big enough to cure all of their problems because obviously some defensive problems come with Kevin Love out there. But I do think he'll be a help and improve the team.
Oh, okay, but like if we want to go kind of lineup wise, it doesn't really. If Nance is the 4 and he's the 5, you still Nance is the non-shooter. You guard him with the big, and you guard him as he's a shooter.
Love spread the floor.
But you have to take somebody out of the lineup, and there have been people that think, hey, you got to have Rodney Hood when Rodney Hood is fully healthy
I'd start
back.
Hood at the 2.
Okay, and so then that's not exactly a great shooting lineup. around
it's
LeBron.
as good as what else you put out there. If you start JR, Korver, but I think defensively with Korver and Love out there.
But that's the big thing, though. They're not nearly as good defensively. They would get better offensively. They would get worse defensively when you have Kevin Love there.
It would be a challenge. I don't know about worse because it's hard to get worse than they are right now. But he brings some defensive challenges.
I pointed out that LeBron to the Spurs makes no sense to me. Just the idea of, hey, get over yourself, right? That's Pop's big thing. In addition to the fact his guys can't come with him everywhere, the setup he has in Cleveland, he's not going to have in San Antonio. It's one of those things that
why he left Miami.
It might, right?
Yeah.
It might sound good in dinner conversation to say to your buddies like, hey, man, you never played for a Hall of Fame coach. How'd it work out? The reality of it is it will never be a reality.
I agree that it won't happen. I don't think LeBron would go to San Antonio as a city, but I believe it would be a great move for him. I think the one team I look at, including Houston, and say if LeBron James went there this summer, that I would put on the same level as a healthy Golden State would be San Antonio, assuming everything was worked out with Kawhi. He's signed long-term. Everything's smoothed over with the organization. He's healthy. But I agree. You were saying, LeBron can be tough to coach. There's no question. And I agree he won't go there. But I think if it were just about winning in a challenging situation as opposed to just going to Golden State where you're going to win no matter what, I think San Antonio would be the place to go. I think Pop would be great for him. And I also think Pop would have the credibility to challenge LeBron. And I think he could get LeBron to listen, perhaps. If anybody can, it would be Pop.
Yeah.
I also think if
say,
LeBron went against him, like if LeBron goes against Ty Lue, Eric Spoelstra, even Mike Brown, David Blatt, most people are going to side with LeBron. If he goes against Greg Popovich, a lot of people say Pop's got more rings. It was good enough for Tim Duncan. It was good enough for David Robinson.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
All you're saying makes complete sense. I'm just saying the reality of it is that would take a sacrifice of ego, the likes of which we haven't seen from LeBron James.
Well, especially to see it in your 16th year.
Yes.
But again, if it's just about I want to win more championships and see if I can catch Michael Jordan in this mythical greatest player ever race, then I think San Antonio would be the place to go. Look, the one thing, Magic, 4 rings with Pat Riley.
Yep.
Shaq, Kobe,
Phil
Jordan,
Yep.
never won it without a legendary coach. I think if LeBron had played for one of those 3 coaches, Pop, Riley, Phil Jackson, for, say, half his career, I think he'd have more rings.
Anything to the LeBron James Ty Lue dust up yesterday?
I don't think so. I like the fact that Ty Lue was challenging him, and hey, you took a bad shot. Probably helped him with the other players to see that. It didn't look that bad to me as far as, coaches and players get into a lot. I thought LeBron's exchange with the assistant Phil Handy a few months ago, I think it was in Toronto, looked a little worse, a little more intense. After the game, LeBron seemed in a good mood.
Which is
Ty
weird
Lue
when they
has
keep
security.
losing, by the way.
Yeah, I think he's doing it. He's purposely trying to stay uplifted because it was a bad look in January.
Yeah.
And in January, you knew there was probably a method to the madness of, hey, I'm doing this to make them change our team at the deadline. Now, this is your team. This is who you're going to bat with in the playoffs. So what's the point of sulking? You have to try to stay upbeat.
All right. I want to get to Trae Young upcoming next, okay? Is he the next Steph Curry, or is he the next Jimmer Fredette? Chris Broussard is going to keep joining us. Obviously, so will Christine Leahy. I'm Doug Gottlieb. That's coming up next in the Herd. But first, Talent does, in fact, matter, and scouting for the best players is not easy. It takes crisscrossing the country, watching hundreds of hours of game film and endless analyzing of players to find the right talent. But if you're hiring for your business, you don't need to do all that. You just need ZipRecruiter. They take care of all the hiring for you. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends your job post to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. And they don't just stop there. ZipRecruiter is on the cutting edge of candidate matching technology. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply for your job. Need a stat to back it up? 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within just one day. The right candidates are out there. ZipRecruiter knows how to find them. And right now, my listeners can try it free at ZipRecruiter.com/herd. That's ZipRecruiter.com/herd. ZipRecruiter.com/herd. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
I love him.